We are live. Hi, Mashudu.
Hi, Abongile.
All right. It's a beautiful evening, and thank you so much, firstly, for taking this moment, and so that we chat around these issues of man, or on how really we can relate or even express ourselves better as men. But before we go any further, I would just like to, for the sake of everyone, or perhaps who's joining us right now from every platform, wherever that is, Facebook, Instagram, on YouTube, just so that they know, who is Coach Mashudu? Just a brief of your background, please.
Hi, everyone. I trust you're well. And to those who'll be joining us, just type replay. And to those who are just joining me for the first time, welcome. So, I am transformation coach Mashudu Mbele. I'm also a negative emotional therapy practitioner, an entrepreneur, an energy healer. What else about me? And I'm also a credit repair coach. And
Yeah,
my role as a transformation coach, all I do is to help you to start your transformation and your healing journey. And it could be in your relationship with yourself, relationship with others, or relationship with money. And you could be asking myself, why about relationships? So we as human beings, we relate with everything. And one of
yeah.
them is relating with us. And if we've got issues with us, it means they're going to impact other issues with others. So I'm into transformation and healing and seeing people, taking them on a journey, being their accountability partner so that they can be better human beings. Because when we change one life, I know that it goes threefold or it
Yeah.
goes 20-fold. It's not only one person who's healing, and there are other people who are going to benefit from that person. And we need to make the world a better place to be. And most people will say it's not, but it depends on how you view life on a daily basis.
Hmm. Now, thank you very much for that. Now, I know you have over 19 years of work experience as an engineer. Now, how does coaching come about?
So when I was in matric, that is when we're doing, they call it matric then now they call it grade 12. I wanted
Yeah.
to be a doctor, and when I did my research that I'll have to work with dead people, I was like, no, I can't do. So
Okay.
so I've had a passion to work with people, so I just get to work with dead people, but I've always wanted to work with people. When I was doing, they call it Form 2 then, that is grade 9 now. So I would say that is where I started being independent. I was 14. And from there, I said, now I need to work with people because I went through so much from a young age. And 14, I made decision, I'm independent, I'm going to take care of myself, study
Yes.
hard, do that. And even when I started working, I remember I was 30 years old. I always refer to that year saying in 2008 that between 2007 and 2008, I went through midlife crisis. And that is where I realized that I was just lost. And
Yeah.
when I was
Yeah.
during that time, I wished I knew about coaches. All I knew that there were psychologists and therapists, and I went like, if I go to these people, they're gonna medicate me, they're gonna do this, they will institutionalize me and all that. And I said to myself, I won't let another person go through what I went through. So I need to help them. That is where I went through coaching. But even when I was doing engineering work, most people say I advise them, I'll give them this. Some still quote me from year 2000 what I said about their finances, what they need to do, and how those tips and the guidance provide. I'm like, okay, so I'm doing this as a coach. So when I
Yeah.
do it,
Yeah.
so when you look at my wish of being a doctor, so I work with the mind, I work with holistically, but do, I do, what is this? Surgery of the mind and of the
Sure.
soul. So that is how I can call it.
Okay, okay. Uh, and from your interactions with people and how you always impact people and how people seem to rely on you for advice and guiding, that give you a sort of or did it resurrect some interest in going fully in coaching?
Yes, it did. In 2017, because I joined Facebook in 2008, if I'm not mistaken, I wasn't that much active,
Yeah.
if one were to go to what I used to post. And then I was invited in, I became part of WAY, which is Women Emancipate Yourself, and it's still there. And then I
Okay.
got involved into Facebook because that group, you daily there was something to work on as women. It was a private Facebook group. It's still there as well. And then I started learning about me and all that, and I came across one of who's this Lesher. She's a money coach as well, and that she was running a course on how to monetize your untapped gifts, and I enrolled in that program. I think it was a 2 months one, and that is
Okay.
where I went deeper into framing my company, which is Enabler Solutions, and what Enabler Solutions is all about: coaching, healing, transforming,
Yes, yes,
empowering
yes.
solutions. Because people, when they look at me, they'll say I'm all over the place, but it's all about taking care of a person holistically as well.
Sure,
And
sure.
yeah. And then from there, even when I look at my business plan now, it's similar to what was written in 2017. And
Yeah.
then 2018, I started learning more. Then 2019, I said, okay, let me go and then be a professional coach, because I saw that you need to, as much as some people are not accredited,
Yeah.
we've got a network. Okay, we're back. So I wanted to be
Okay.
accredited. Then I enrolled in the course. I did my transformation. So I've got four qualification in one, which is transformation coach, life coach, neuro linguistic practitioner, and negative emotional therapy practitioner. And also I'm a trained master coach as well. So those
Okay.
are the things, and I'm forever learning. So I'm forever learning, also enrolling in. I also did in 2020. I did the Breathwork Foundation because I love meditation. So there's so many ways that you can heal yourself with breathing, and just having that foundation is amazing. So coaching has come from what people were saying and my passion as well, because I realized I'm tired of fixing machines, which is all about engineering
Yeah,
and so
yeah,
and
yeah.
so it
You
was
must
just
now become a fixer of people.
yeah, because I wanted to be fixed as well, so other people were helping to fix me as well.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, no, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Now let's get on to the theme of this conversation. I saw one of your programs, and I liked it so much. In that, of course, privately we had a conversation about it. Hence, we are here. I am the king of my castle. How do you come about developing such a program?
So I'm the king of my castle. Um, it came about my clients. So my clients
Sure.
will say, Coach Mashudu, I'm getting better. I'm leveling up. My consciousness improves. Because when you go to a coach, their role is to also improve your consciousness, how you view life, how you look at things as well. So, I
Sure.
feel like my partner is a bit behind and I'm leveling up. And you will say that I don't love him because he doesn't feel me and I don't feel him anymore. Is there
Yeah.
anything that you can do for us? I'm like, oh, maybe I can do a class for them. And then I let it slide. Then a month later, someone says, when are you starting that class? And I'm like, I'll do it. And then there was a week, about four people in one day said, start the class. I'm like, okay. I said, the universe needs this, so let me just start. But it stems from the fact that women mostly, they do the inner work, and their partners are left behind, and
Okay.
they want to improve, and some of the partners say they want to improve, so it comes from them starting to heal I'll say the masculine energy. And when you look in looking at our country, not only our country, the the whole continent, the whole, what is it? The whole world, mostly you
Yeah,
find household are run by women, and you find that mostly men are not there because of they have to go and take care of, go and work and all that. And
yeah,
with that happening, some they don't know what is happening in their house as much as their house is being called by their name, or by saying Mbele or Mufukeng and all that. But
yeah,
Mufukeng is not there. It's me, Chimange, running the show, bringing that footprints.
yeah,
And
yeah,
when we realize that, and then even when with the classes I've run, guys will say, I don't know how to take care of my family. This is what I'm doing at the moment, is what I learned from my father, and this is what
yeah,
I know. And then it frustrates women who are already leveling up, who know what they need to, because people, when they start working on themselves, they tap into their inner power. They learn to
mm,
speak up. They learn to
yeah,
be themselves. They learn to have values for themselves, to have this big vision. And if the man of the house, because it's all about the neck and the head, there's no direction, the
sure,
family will be directionless, and you feel like you're not man enough. And
yeah,
it's all
yeah,
about creating foundation. It's not about looking down at men. It's tapping into your inner power, because both males and females, they've got a role to play in building up families. We've got so much role to play to build up societies, and we can't build societies without both parties being involved,
yeah,
being
yeah, yeah,
participative, and letting one person. Because at the moment, if you look into our country, there's so much happening, and as much as fathers are there, yeah, some are abusing. Like, I'll say, lately I've been having clients who say, I don't know what to do. I see my father abusing my mom.
my mom,
And
yeah,
and then I'll ask, when does he abuse your mom? When he's drunk. That is when he taps to himself, because
okay,
yes, and then when he does that, it's like a little kid crying out, doing all these things. And we can't run household like that, because we are creating trauma to the other people, and it impacts them on how they live. So it's
yeah,
about building and healing as well. Healing, because it starts with healing. We can only tap into our inner power when we start healing our inner wound, and when we start healing our father wound and our mother wound. And part of the King of the Castle, we've got a 6 months homework of knowing your,
okay,
because if
yeah,
you was to Pumap, you don't know your paternal side, you don't know your maternal side, what are you going to say to your kids?
yeah, yeah.
Because you
Okay,
need to
so
know your.
before we even get deep in the content of the program, I was having a conversation with someone close to me, and we were talking exactly around this issue of, well, it's not an issue, but around the development of women that it seems to be happening as a result. Men feel like they are left behind. So now, what we were arguing about was that could that have an impact on the gender-based violence that we see against women, where you would find that maybe a woman seems to be progressing in the family. As a result, the man is left behind, but to sort of remain some kind of powerful or the leader or the head in the family, they then would resort to violence. Would you say that is true or applicable in this instance?
I would say yes, that is applicable, because when you
Yeah.
go to a relationship, whether you're married or not, what happens is that six people are involved in that relationship. And one would
Okay.
say, what do I mean by six people? Six people
Yeah.
is yourself and the person you are in a relationship with, and it's your parents, whoever was your caregiver from a female side and a male side, and your partner's parents as well, or the caregivers. So when we are young, we learn how to normalize life based on what we learned, because our parents, the
Okay.
first 7 years, the first 7 years of our lives, they are what we call the formative years. And as you go, you start learning, and then society also influences you. So when you go to a relationship, you bring that because you don't know something which is better. According to you, that is perfect. And when
Yeah,
when
yeah,
that happens, you find there's conflict. And when relationships happen, I always say relationships are the best personal development that you can ever have. Because each time, if you're in a relationship with someone, you are attracting who you are. And then what do I mean by that? The first 3 months, there are those hormones, lovey-dovey, staying on the phone for 12
yeah.
hours, saying how much I love you, and say, sleep. Okay. No, close your eyes. I'm sleeping. Okay, I'm hanging up. And then so
Yeah,
after a while, that goes off, and the real reason why you met comes up, and then I'll say, Abongile irritates me. You know, he didn't do that. But in those 3 months, you didn't see that Abongile just left the plate like that. And
yeah,
it
yeah,
shows,
yeah,
and then it just starts showing you, triggering things that are within you that you need to heal, which could be your mother wound, your father wounds, and all that, the neglect, the abandonment issues that you had, and also the conflict on how to being unable to resolve conflict. So all those things start coming up, and you say, I am irritated, and then your friends will go like, this woman didn't want to talk to us. He will say Abongile is here, and then
yeah,
now you just want
yeah,
to run away because now you are revealing the dark, the what we saw say my shadows for me to be, and then that means I need to heal. So when two partners they move beyond the fighting, you realize why did we meet? What do we need to heal? And they say now we're ready to heal that. The relationship will grow, and we've got what we call karmic relationship and soulmate relationships, and mostly people will meet karmic because those karmic are good for you. It's for you to
mm,
level up and learn who you are. But if
yeah,
you look at your problems and you just stay in your sorrow and you don't ask yourself what is the bigger lesson that you need to learn, you'll stay with those. You'll dump Avangil and you go to Joe, and Joe is 3 times that, and like so the same cycle will occur until both people have learned the lesson.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So you talk about the mother wound or the father wound. What exactly are those? Because I've heard in instances where maybe when it would normally be referred to a woman, maybe it would be said, no, she has daddy issues. It's a familiar statement to say now she has daddy issues. But now I also want to learn now that what we would call daddy issues in relation to a woman, it's actually applicable as well in us as men. So, having said that, please break it down for us. What do you mean by father wound and mother wound? And is it a woman's thing, or is it something that attacks women, or even us as men? We suffer from such.
We both suffer from daddy issues and mommy issues, and it's something that I covered in the I'm the King of the Castle in length in the past, yeah, the past classes. But I can
Yeah,
just go briefly and explain. So all of us we would suffer from. Let's start with the daddy issues. Let's say from a female perspective. So if my father wasn't, so when you have father or mother wound, just in general, is having the lack of support and the love from someone physically, that emotional, as much as they might be there. Because someone will say, no, my father was there. He was physically supported, but I'll ask you, was
mm,
he there emotionally? So is being emotionally absent towards your child,
sure.
because when a child comes to earth, they are helpless. They want a belonging. And
Yeah,
with women, fathers, they've got a bigger role. They teach us how to take risks. They become our
okay.
cheerleader because it just comes naturally. And
Yeah.
you're aware that a bond between a girl and a father is so, because that guy will teach the child how to play, how to take risks, how to do funny things, play games, being their cheerleader. But you find out
Mm.
that there is that dad, but he doesn't know how to do that because he never learned. Because some people say, no,
Yeah.
I never did this. But the father's role is to take care of the child, to be there for them, to be their cheerleader and reassure them and to protect them. And
Yeah. Yeah.
emotionally, so emotionally is not only about buying clothes, because mostly kids will always remember whether were you there in the soccer practice, whether were you cheering up, whether did you take them, did you attend meeting. They won't remember that outfit because we outgrow clothes. So it's
Yes.
about creating that. And then when you don't find that, you start looking for it in other people. Like for me, I learned that I had daddy issues because my father passed on when I was 3, and then
Okay.
out with people. And then the first few months, it's all about the lovey duck. Oh, I can't, yo, like, okay, sleep. Okay, I'll call you. And then we WhatsApp each other. And then later, and then the person is, and then we start progressing in the relationship. Then I get irritated. And then if the guy didn't do this, and then I just lose it. Because I'm looking for my father to save me. I'm looking for my father to take
Yeah.
care.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you start taking your relationship as if you treat other ingani zabantu. If you're doing that, guys, come and get help. Is that it just happens automatically because it's in your subconscious mind. You won't even
Yeah.
realize unless you sit down and reflect and do the journaling. Then I'll tap into the and say, he really hates me. And then when I sit and realize, I'm like, oh, I've abused Ngani Habantu.
Mm.
I've delegated the role of a father because I didn't deal with my father wounds, with my daddy issues. And one can deal with your daddy issues now if you acknowledge that you've got that. So I was
Yeah.
saying most of the relationship will be fine. Then I'll just snap. I'll just get angry, get annoyed so quickly because I'm waiting for my father, and this guy doesn't know what is really happening in my mind and all that. And
Yeah.
that happens. And then from the guy's side as well. And then with the mother issues, you find that there isn't any good relationship if it's a lady as well. I also suffered from that. My mother wasn't very emotionally as much as she
Wow.
was physically as well. But when I learned her history of what made her to be like that, and then she apologized, that was a deep healing, but it took almost 40 years. You can just imagine. Because when we are angry with our parents, we just go like, why are they acting like this? And how we were raised, we were not given the opportunity to ask questions. And we find that with our parents, based on what they were raised, they were not able to communicate. Because my mom, when we started,
Yeah.
says, you know how autocratic your granny was. We couldn't ask questions. We couldn't do this. We couldn't do this. Then you start understanding what made that person behave that way, and you start having that
Mm.
healing journey and say, as much as I've got my pain, she went through a pain, but I'm not going to allow her pain to continue and ruling mine. We need to heal in our own way differently. So it's acknowledging the pain, understanding the root cause, and say, okay, now I have to reparent myself. I have to do
Yeah.
things differently. But it starts with forgiveness and forgiving yourself first before you forgive other people.
Yeah. Because I'm listening to you right now, and you are recalling something that was painful, but you narrate it so light. It just shows. I mean, you even laugh about it. To me, it just shows exactly what you're talking about, the importance of accepting that, yes, this is my reality, this is what I've went through, and in accepting it, therefore it gives me the ability to deal with it. Do you think us as men, is it something easy to do, to really confront our emotions, be able to even dissect them and break them down so that we are able to maneuver this process? Like now, even you can even relate to back to your experience with your clients. Is it something, are we that open to looking deep in ourselves and opening up and sharing our emotions for the purpose of healing.
So I would say from my experience, it's not because the ego is at play. The ego with men, they've been told not to express themselves in Dodaikali, Munahali,
Hey,
Munali, and you cannot go to someone and Tina as Africans or Abantu Amnyama, we cannot go to a shrink and we cannot display our problems with everyone. Like one
yeah,
client of says we even called the police to try and resolve, and then family said, why are you calling the police, why are you doing this, why are you calling social workers, you have to sit there as a woman and enjoy the pain, that's why you're here in this family. So there is that beliefs and a lot of unlearning that we need to do, because many people are going through so much and it's
yeah,
so cool. And with men, you find that they are taking it out on their kids, and the cycle is continuing. So that is why I'm the king of the castle, because mostly people have got homes, and we want the best for our kids. So it's all about swallowing your pride and creating an intention and saying, I'm gonna do this for my kids.
yeah, yeah.
I can use this analogy of saying, let's say you're so close with your kids, you do things for them, and then there's this big commitment at work, and but even the child's commitment you promised long time ago, and then
Mm,
first day you don't, and then the child say, maybe it's, let's say you are John and your child is Tom, and then Tom comes to you all the time and say, Daddy, have you done this? So have you paid for the school fees, or have you paid for the trip? The trip is it's on Friday. And then, yes, I'll pay for it. And then the school reminds the child. And then on the fourth day, the child comes back.
mm,
So what one needs to learn is not to go and say to the child, you are not a priority. That is why I
yeah,
didn't pay. It's all about prioritizing. As
yeah,
much as
yeah,
you're working for your kids, but they are not prioritizing. So you are what we call bambakambili.
yeah, yeah,
So we need to have those hard discussions. We need to go and do a hard surgery of ourselves and be brutally honest. Because when we come here on earth, depending on which family you're in, you might say you are going through poverty. Yes, you go. There's something that you need to learn with that experience too. And then after a while, you need to step up because everyone has got that will. So
yeah,
I always say, adults, you cannot use your background and come and complain to me because you've got that power. So we've
yeah,
got that
yeah,
power. You can say, my father did it, my granny did it, my grandpa did it. So it's an opportunity for you to step up and create a good legacy. So that when you're in India, you go like, I did my job well. Look at those kids. They're doing so amazing. As much as
yeah.
the world going through hell, World War 20 or whatever, but in terms of them spiritually, mentally, physically, and spiritually, they are fine. So that is what you have to long for.
Mm, mm, mm. Yep. And how now? I'm trying to go back to what you're saying about the difficulty of us as men to open up. I'm trying to go back and think about this culture of Indo-Daikali, and having to hide things that are actually killing the family, having to hide them and not deal with them in a way that is going to help us be free from whatever that is keeping us in that anger state. Where do you think that culture comes from? Does it come from a good place where maybe whoever, because I see it's across all our cultures as Black people, that where maybe someone decided that as the people of color, we are going to keep our things secret, we are not going to talk. And men are the strong ones, they are not going to share their emotions because that's what I feel that I feel like we as men, the minute you show your emotional side, the minute you are in touch with your emotions, you then come as sort of a softie, as sort of a softie, as sort of a weak person. So how do we distinguish between being soft and being in touch with your emotions as a person? And also looking back in that culture that has been happening over years and years, that indoda ikhali, indoda must be strong and all that stuff.
So we are emotional beings, all of us, whether you're male or female. Because even when you were born, you were crying, you screamed there to tap your bum and say, cry, let's see if this child
Yeah,
can
yeah,
breathe. So
yeah,
we go through. So society and our condition always impacts us. But one has to prioritize themselves at the end of the day. And
yeah,
and normally you'll find that when you need to change, we've got what we call the sixth sense, which is what we are all being born with, is to
sure,
tap into it and being vulnerable. Being vulnerable doesn't mean you're gonna come and chat to me and cry all the time. It's going
yeah,
to a special corner and just let yourself cry, just grieve or go on a drive. Like myself, what I used to do when I'm sad, I'll go on a drive, turn on my volume and cry. And by the
yeah,
time I'm done, I've released, because each experience that we go through, even this experience, we store it in our body. So we create neural paths,
sure,
neurons. We create neural paths. So one can go further and go and read more about neurology. So everything that we go through, we store it in our bodies. Whether it's good or it's bad. But if it's bad, there's a time your body can't take it, and it creates what we call the disease, which is a
mm,
disease. Because we make ourselves sick all the time because of
yeah,
the food
yeah,
we eat,
yeah,
of not expressing. So what guys can start doing is journaling, which is what I also try to do in the class. I give them lots of questions to sit with themselves and start journaling. And when they're journaling, I tell them, tell your whole family not to come to the room when you're doing that, so that you cry, you tap into yourself. It's all about being vulnerable. If you're not
mm,
vulnerable with yourself, who are you going to be vulnerable with? It's about removing the mask. I know what society says, but you, at the end of the day, you're the main character of your life. You're
yeah,
the one who's living in your body all the time, 100% of the time. And if you don't tap into that inner power, which is who you are, you're gonna struggle and just continue the cycle. So we need to
mm,
be vulnerable with ourselves. You don't have to go and be vulnerable with the world, and be vulnerable with yourself, or you can go to a coach, because we've got a code of ethics to follow. We
yeah,
cannot publicize your story. You can report us, and then we can be removed from being a coach. But there are people who are there to help you. And
yeah,
now, as we are changing, the world is evolving. There's so much, and us having access to social media, you can start working. You can even get a coach from overseas if you feel like coaches from South Africa, they're going to tell the world about you. You just get someone overseas and can help you. You can just check their credentials if they can
yeah,
help you.
yeah,
But we need to start healing our families, but healing starts with you, because we go through a lot of trauma. And one of the traumas, when it comes to the mother wound and the father wound, like the mother is the first person that we get attached to when we come here on earth, because we are in the womb, and that 9 months. And then when you come on earth, and now you come on earth and this person doesn't take care of you, you feel lost. You feel
yeah, I
rejected.
can imagine. Yeah,
Wherever you are, you feel rejected, you feel abandoned. But the other abandonment occurs during birth, during that process of birth, which I've been learning a lot about it, is that we also start feeling abandonment that time when we are being born. The
mm,
moment the umbilical cord is cut. So what needs to happen, which I understand the midwives used to do, is that the moment the child is out, whatever way, they'll bring the child to the mother's heart, so that the child can have that transition from the womb to the heart and to the world, and then that child feels much better. So that
yeah,
abandonment is not there. So after a
yes,
while, when the child feels secure, that okay, I'm no longer in this beautiful water which I was in, now I'm outside, but I still feel whoever was connected to still here in the outside. Then
mm,
you can
mm,
have, most people feel that abandonment because if you have got a surgery planned and it was a complicated surgery, everyone just rushing out and you forget about the impact of that process, how at a later stage affects the person's life, successes. Because someone will even be in someone will meet someone that loves them, but because and when that person is not there, they just feel abandoned. And that person will say,
Yeah.
but I'm there. But this person doesn't feel me. So that person still needs to heal that abandonment and
Yeah.
acknowledge it.
Yeah. No, I really like what you're saying. Though as easy as it may sound, it's really a process. It takes a lot, I can imagine, to find yourself in that state of acknowledging that okay, I have a problem, and because I have a problem, I need to deal with it. It really doesn't come easy. It really doesn't come easy. Now, how does one, because you also you are a relationship transformational coach as well. How does one, let's say I find myself, I'm this broken man, I have my own issues, and I'm in a relationship with this partner of mine. How does one or the partner, my partner, get to or deal with me, relay or being able to deal with me in my state, because you find that I'm a broken man, I have anger issues, and it becomes difficult for you to handle me. You understand? Everything just erupts to be a big argument. Now, how does one whom is my the important other, significant other, deal with me in that state?
So what normally happens when that happens, the other person will say, why should I stay here? And then later they'll say,
Exactly.
I've been here
Exactly. Why
for long.
suffer? Just leave.
So they'll say, I've been here for long, we've been here, but we find that 80% is the fight and 20% is the good part. And they'll just look at the 20% and says, okay, I'm gonna stay. And then they start being the rescuer. They
Sure.
start being, and then even themselves, you realize they've got issues because they are trying to be the rescuer, which means they need to be rescued.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
themselves, you find out there's issues. Because unless
So,
when
so
you,
let me hear you there for a moment. You are saying they are trying to rescue the other person, and that translates to being them needing the rescue.
yes.
Okay.
Because when you're acting it up, Bona, they are not.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Now they want to parent you. Because Bona, they want to be parented. But when
Yeah.
somebody,
Yeah.
and they don't know their worth,
Sure.
because if you don't know
Sure.
your worth, you're able to stay in other situations. And you also, society comes into play, what you have been told by, like if you were married, because that the few weeks before the marriage, were liar, and all that plays up. It plays up, but your
Yeah.
higher
Yeah.
self says, no, you don't deserve this, you deserve better. So you find that someone will just stay, and then after a while, when they realize that they can't change someone, because you cannot change anyone, everyone has to create that intention to say, I want to change, because you
Yeah.
cannot
Yeah.
change anyone. The only person you can change is yourself. So when such things happen, one needs to ask themselves, what contribution am I making here in this relationship? What is it showing me? What do I need to level up about it? When they start
Yeah.
leveling up, they will be able one day just to wake up and just say, I'm going. And then the other person will start waking up because they were not ready, because they were
Yeah.
used to you. Because whatever is happening, my find that it happened with their families, and it just normal because we always gravitate to the normality, and the normality can be bad relationships, can be good relationship, whatever
Sure.
it is, but that is how we always want to be in our comfort zone. And doing transformation work is not easy. Sitting down
Mm,
and doing the inner surgery and seeing how you contributed, how you undervalued yourself. When you say people, no, people hate me. Now ask you, how much do you hate yourself? and you get
Yeah.
angry with me. But when you go home, you realize how much you hate yourself and you're just
Yeah.
blaming other people because everyone
Yeah.
in society, they're just reflecting you. So if there's chaos outside you, there's chaos within you. So look within before you go and knock in people's houses.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. No, that's beautiful. Now, in closing, Coach Mashudu, now I am realizing that, okay, I do have issues. I do have these problems. And I can acknowledge as well and see that, okay, they are impacting my relationships negatively. And I'd like to do something about it. But I don't know what to do. How does one go about seeking help in helping? I see in the content of I'm the king of my castle. You have the healing element, you have the learning and unlearning, you have the transformation. So it means those are all the steps that one needs to take. But where do I start? How do I go about it?
So where do you start? You can have a session with me, a discovery session. So that's a free session, 30 minutes. And then we'll
Okay.
look at your issue. Then I'll also, because some people find that already they're doing inner work and some haven't
Hmm.
done inner work. So you cannot just give everyone the same solution. So
Sure.
I see there are other people on on Instagram, guys. Hi, Seho. Hi, Shenyue. Hi, Les. Hi, Coach Philadelphia. So that is what they can do. And I have a 30 minutes, which is called the discovery session, and it's important
Yeah.
because I know men, we've got our egos. Even us women, we've got our egos, but yours, it's worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You see, you see, so it's an opportunity, and I know most coaches do that. You might find that you don't gel with me. That is why we have a discovery call. So
Hmm.
most coaches, so you have that discovery call and see if you can work with that person because you won't be vulnerable. You won't be yourself if you are with someone. So there's no point wasting each other's time that 1 hour or 30 minutes or and saying, no, my wife said I should come. No, just say, I'll refer you to other people and say, go and interview them and see if you can work with them. So
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
what we can do. And then in terms of the classes, if they've missed this one, we started with the inner wound, then we went to the mother wound, father wound class. And then this month on Wednesday, we're doing the tapping into your inner power so they can do those classes. So the classes normally they are meant for people who don't want to speak to me yet, who don't
Okay.
want to go there, but also there's the element of unlearning whatever is on your subconscious mind, the journaling,
Sure.
because journaling is you releasing, because as I said, with every experience, we store it in our body. So now it's about releasing. And when you start writing, you start crying, you go like, where are these tears coming from? Because everything
Mm.
that we have, neural paths are all over our bodies, depending on where you store the
Yeah.
issue. So they can do those classes by themselves, and then if they need help, they can come to me. And then when they are ready to really to work on themselves and transform themselves and work on their negative emotions, their
Sure.
beliefs, then we can have a program. I've got different programs that can help them, and I also have got other online coaching courses, but they can work. So I'm the king of the castle, I know is the basic. And with that, when you know your root as a man, you can have
Yeah.
lovely relationships. And with the men of the castle, the first class is very heavy. Because even
Mm.
going to do one of the homeworks of the family tree, and you might say your parents are late, but you will have to go and ask neighbors. You're going to hear gory stories about your families. But you just
Yeah.
have to open them and just listen and see where are the patterns. Am I repeating that? Am I gonna am I gonna allow my son or my daughter to learn all these things about us? It's about
Yes. 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 Yes.
yeah. And if we don't know our roots, yeah, it impacts us. So we need to know our roots because your kids are gonna ask you. That's why even when we get married, two families they're joined together, and you need to know those families, what they do, what makes them tick. Because other families you
Yeah.
find they are
Yeah.
royalty, Other families, they are business people. Other families, a family of doctors. And you find out there are a few doctors and you don't even understand where in the lineage this doctoring started from. And others are running business. That is why we shouldn't judge other people and compare ourselves or compare our journey with others, because we don't know. If you don't know your roots,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you know your roots, you'll be able to know how far are you from you, what you need to tap, and what other gifts you need to embrace
Mhm.
and tap to as a human being.
Yeah, yeah. I like what you're saying. So you mean in knowing your roots, you also get to identify things that empower you, and also things that disempower you, and then you have the knowledge of breaking the chain. If it's something that is negative, of course, you are able to deal with it because now you know that it's something that has always been in the family. But if it's something positive, you are able to capitalize on it. It's a family root, it's a family history that has always kept the family
Yeah.
going, and as a result, it becomes that step, that spring for you to go forward.
Yes, and also you'll be able to tap because you know where you're coming from. Then now you start untapping who you are.
Sure.
Because if you know your roots and you know the traumas, you are healing them and whatever, you say, I'm not defined by my traumas. They're not gonna
Yeah.
make me.
Yeah.
And then now you tap into this new person, which is who you are, and people that we don't know Abongile, we don't know this person, but we like this person, and you realize, but that is what you were supposed to be, but other things with your which they were derailing you, but delaying you,
Yeah.
that you had to work on, which they made you grow. So we shouldn't look bad into what we've been through. Everything that we've been through has got a great lesson in our life. So we need to look
Sure.
beyond the pain. We need to look beyond the trauma. Everything that we go, there's a soul lesson, there's a bigger lesson that we had to learn so that we're able to tap into our greatness.
For sure. For sure. No, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, what would be your last words in encouraging men, in encouraging these kings to acknowledge that they have castles that they need to build, only if they start looking within themselves and knowing their worth, and then owning up their confidence and start building by healing and doing all that is required of them. What would you say to us as men, in encouraging us to take part in this, in looking in ourselves?
So I would say our kids need happy homes, whether the kids are your biological or they are your siblings, so everyone who's a child they'll be looking. So they need happy homes, they need structure, they need
Okay.
foundation. And the foundation needs to be started by you, because when you know your foundation, you're able to communicate with your partner much better. You're able to
Sure.
direct each other.
Sure.
You're able to have that what is it? Companion, because relationship is all about companion. It's not about
Yeah.
dedicating love to the other. It's all about creating this big empire that both of you are meant to create. But if you don't heal yourself, you won't even tap, you'll even die without getting to the main reason of a relationship of about building companionship and making the world a better place with all its
Yeah.
challenges. And what is happening in the country, we need to step up. We need to step up, kings. We need you to take over your throne. We need you to know who you are. And when you know who you are and you tap to yourself and you heal, healing is, I would say, it's messy. But even when you
Yeah.
just do one thing a month, because you might say you don't have time, you work long, but just dedicating 1 hour a month, you realize by the year end, you have spent 12 hours on changing yourself. And the person that you would have been when you compare yourself the previous year and who you are, they are completely different people.
Yeah.
They are not the same, but you are just committing and saying, I want to be better. Because normally your sixth sense is always talking to you, saying, Nay, I'm Pinchi, I, Lana, we are wrong. But you won't even have the courage of
Yes.
saying, and swallow your pride, I'm Lana, we need better. If I
Yeah.
go Machito azongihleka and lo mate angeke ang-understand uzongibukela phansi and all that. We need to
Yeah,
move
yeah,
away
yeah,
from that. You're robbing us of your greatness, man.
yeah. Because hey, 14 as men, we don't want to be undermined, and as a result, it's ego. It goes back to the ego you were talking about. That
Mhm.
even good things that we have to take step in addressing them, know our weaknesses that inside, because ultimately these issues that we don't want to deal with them because we don't want to appear weak, they ultimately make us weak.
Yeah.
We lose that castle we should be building because we want to appear strong, whereas in actual fact we are weak.
Mm. So, guys, create your own small networks. If you're not ready to have a session with me, I know there are other amazing men who are doing something for men, but wherever you are, just meet
Sure.
with guys three, maybe once a month. It could be five of you, and you can go to podcasts and listen to amazing. Because I know there's a lot of work being done for men. Go and just listen and say, guys, nizwile bakhuluma nathi lapha, and you
Yeah.
say jokingly. I know when you're saying it jokingly with others, you realize you not the only one with this mess. Oh, Nalava. They always look okay. You here. And then you'll be having that internal conversation, but it will be just showing you, which all of us were going through so much. We've got our own mess. But have that circle. And if you are not ready, you feel like your circle of friends are not there, get a coach. And also, there are other service providers that provide what is it, coaching, not coaching, that provides counseling. So if you need
Yeah.
details on that, you can do that. But what I'm saying is that help is readily available. It's readily
Yeah.
available, but you can do something. So even have groups. I know we women, we create groups so quickly and we are forever encouraging each other. And if you need material, just let me know. I'll send it to you. Then you spread it to the team because you don't want me in the group. But all I'm urging is start having those small circles. Do
Yeah.
something so your kids they get excited. "Mawubona ubaba." They don't say
Yeah.
mommy's doing thing, mommy's doing this and all that. Because what is gonna ultimately happen, the same cycle is gonna happen and you'll be
Yeah.
crying. Uthi ingane yami abayinakekeli, but when were you there emotionally?
Sure. 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 Yeah. And when is the next session of I'm the king of my castle?
So the next session is on Wednesday. So we are tapping into our inner power. So it's the last session for the year. So we'll continue in January. So but
Sure.
do tune in. And if you say you're busy, you don't have time. Normally the session for men is 2 hours. I also have for ladies. So I'm not only concentrating on
Okay.
the guys, and you're listening to this and you feel like your lady need to be part of the class, they can be part of the self-love
For
circle.
sure.
And for me, self love is quite key, something that I didn't know. I didn't love
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
I dedicated love. So that is where the name comes from. Learning, teaching other people how to love themselves. So join me on Wednesday, which will be at 6:30. Then come and learn and so that you become better. You're women, they're gonna do amazing things for you. You don't know when you start working on yourself what magic happens.
Yes.
You start
Yes.
creating magic which you go like, huh? Why didn't I start doing this long time ago? Why didn't I start taking off the load? So it's all about removing the mask and the load. And
Yes.
people surrounding you and situations around you getting better. You go like, oh my word, life is so beautiful in my chaos, but life is so beautiful. So that is what when you do, when you step into your castle. So that is what the course is all about, stepping into your castle and owning it. And so that we can feel it when you're there.
Yeah. Oh no, that's beautiful. There you have it, gents. Yeah, let's start building our castles. Thank you very much, Coach Mashudu. I really appreciate your time and even the initiative. The initiative to feel like, I know, of course, you were bothered by your clients to say, hey, we need this, and then you finally did it. Thank you so much for seeing the need of this program. We really appreciate it. And of course, even myself as a man, I am encouraging gents to look into helping themselves, to look into healing ourselves, healing our wounds, our mother and father wounds, and make sure that we are becoming the better kings of our castles. Thank you very much, Mashudu. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in, and to those who'll be listening later, please type replay. And also tell us what was your key takeaway. It will be so amazing just to hear your reflection. And also share, tag your friends. I know you can even share without us knowing that you have shared. Go and share. So do it secretly with the other guys. So we need to create this revolution of making
For sure, for
people
sure,
think.
for sure. No, that's wonderful. Thank you, everyone who joined us. Yeah, let's keep those comments going and share your experiences. And then until we do it next time again,
Bye.